Hello everyone, myself I am Dr. Violet, and today we are going to discuss about the topic that is endocrinology and hormonal regulation. So how these endocrines and hormones, they play an important role in regulating the release of various hormones during any particular need of our body. Like if the body needs more metabolism, then definitely more thyroid hormones should be released, right? So this is what we understand by the term regulation, right? If we need it, the particular hormone, so that should be released. Once the work of the hormone is done, it should not be released, right? So that is how the hormone should be regulated. And this is one of the important topics that you need to understand, you need to know, because it is asked in CSI NET Life Science exams. So let's get it. So first we are going to discuss about the regulation that occurs when there is secretion of thyroid hormones. Okay, so thyroid hormones levels are being regulated by the release of TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone secretion, that in turn is regulated by TRH, that is thyrotropin releasing hormone. Now this thyrotropin releasing hormone is released from the gland, that is the hypothalamus, right? So we know hypothalamus is the thermostat of a body. It is present in the brain and it releases releasing hormone as well as inhibiting hormone. Now over here hypothalamus is releasing the TRH. Now TRH, when it is released, it will go and stimulate the anterior pituitary to release TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. Now this thyroid stimulating hormone will in turn go and stimulate the thyroid gland to release thyroid hormones, right? And thyroid hormones, like as we know, it plays an important role in regulating the metabolism of a body, so that will be achieved. So it will go and it will work on its target cells. Now what if so thyroid hormones are basically T3, T4 hormones. So once the body has attained its BMR and everything is working fine, so that time the thyroid hormones work is done, right? So now once its work is done, so these thyroid hormones that are released will have a negative feedback effect. Okay, so it will show negative feedback on anterior pituitary. So anterior pituitary will stop releasing TSH. Similarly, it will have a negative feedback effect on hypothalamus. So hypothalamus will stop releasing TRH, right? So that is how you can see over here. So the arrows, okay, that are continuous, so they are showing how it stimulates the next gland for the release of various hormones, while the arrows that are discontinuous, so you can see how it inhibits the various glands so that the hormones are not released. So this is what is very important, that you need to know that how TSH secretion is regulated by the TRH that is released from the hypothalamus. So this is one of the examples of regulation of the thyroid hormones. Likewise, there are other examples of regulation of different hormones. Like the next one is about the regulation of secretion and actions of ADH. ADH is antidiuretic hormone, right? So ADH, what all it does, it helps to absorb water whenever a body is suffering with dehydration, right? So that is the major work of it. Apart from that, remember, it is also a vasoconstrictor. Okay, its other name is vasopressin. Now let me tell you all, ADH is actually synthesized by hypothalamus, okay, but it goes and gets stored in posterior pituitary. And whenever there is a need, it is released from posterior pituitary. Now how its release is regulated? So let's see what happens. So the release of ADH is under the control of the osmotic pressure, okay. Like we can say when it will be released, so whenever there is a change in the osmotic pressure in our body. So suppose there is high blood osmotic pressure. High blood osmotic pressure means there are more solutes compared to the water that is present in our body, right? So that time it will stimulate the osmoreceptors. So these osmoreceptors in the hypothalamus, so they can sense that the osmotic pressure is very high. So these osmoreceptors will activate the neurosecretory cells. Okay, so what are these neurosecretory cells? Neurosecretory cells are the cells of the hypothalamus. Okay, so you can see they in the form of they are not proper cells, we can say. They are in the form of neuronal cells. Okay, so these are what we call it as the neurosecretory cells. So they activate the neurosecretory cells that synthesize and they'll release the hormone ADH. Right? Now this ADH, so when this is happening, when the osmotic pressure is high, so nerve impulses will release ADH from the axon terminals in the posterior pituitary. Right? So because the osmotic pressure is high, ADH is released, and now what all effect it will do on the, it works in the nephrons in the kidney, so they retain more water. So that is what the first function I told you all about it. So it absorbs more water. So in this way the urine output will decrease. Okay, so body will now have more water because the osmotic pressure was high. Then it can also act on the sweat glands. Okay, so there it will decrease the water loss. So the person will have less perspiration. Okay, if the osmotic pressure of the body is high, and there will be less sweating from the skin. So in this way it will try to maintain the water levels of our body, as well as I said, it is a vasoconstrictor. Okay, so it will constrict the arterioles. Right? So in this way it can also play a role in regulating the blood pressure. So it will increase the blood pressure. Clear? So this is the regulation that is occurring whenever the ADH is released, whenever the body has high blood osmotic pressure. Now once the osmotic pressure has been maintained and it has gone back, so that time its release will be inhibited by the hypothalamus. No more ADH will be released by hypothalamus, right? And the opposite will happen if there is a low blood osmotic pressure. So that time it will inhibit these osmoreceptors that are present in the hypothalamus. So it will inhibit or reduce, these inhibition of the osmoreceptors will decrease or stop the ADH secretion. So this is another regulation that we need to know about the hormone ADH, how the release is controlled by the hypothalamus. Now next example of the regulation of hormones we can understand through this RAA pathway. Okay, that is the regulation of aldosterone secretion by the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone pathway. Okay, so this is what we call it as RAA pathway. Now, suppose the body is suffering with dehydration, means less water. Okay, that time sodium will also be less, because if sodium, whenever sodium gets absorbed, water gets absorbed. Now, if the body is suffering with dehydration, means water is not getting absorbed. At the same time, sodium deficiency is there. Or if there is hemorrhage. Hemorrhage means again blood volume is getting lost, right? Because hemorrhage means bleeding. So it will lead to decrease in blood volume, right? Now in turn, when there is a decrease in blood volume, always remember blood volume and blood pressure, they are directly related to each other. So there will be decrease in blood pressure. Okay. So whenever there is a decrease in blood pressure, the juxtaglomerular cells of kidneys can sense it and they will release an enzyme that is renin. Now renin will convert a liver protein that is angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. Further, with the help of AC, that is angiotensin converting enzyme, it will convert angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 is a vasoconstrictor, so it will constrict the arterioles. Okay. At the same time, it can stimulate the adrenal cortex to release aldosterone hormone. Aldosterone can also be released when there is high potassium in the extracellular fluid. Now, high levels of aldosterone will stimulate the kidney, so there will be more sodium and water reabsorption and removal of potassium and hydrogen. So, as a result, now the blood volume will increase because water is being absorbed. Okay, and in turn the blood pressure will increase. Right? So, blood pressure increases until it returns back to normal. So, initially if you see blood pressure was less, now the blood pressure has increased and the blood volume has also increased. So, this is another regulation that we need to study about the regulation of aldosterone secretion by the RAA pathway. So, this is how the RA pathway works to regulate the secretion of aldosterone, which in turn regulates our blood volume as well as blood pressure. Now we'll be discussing about one more regulation, that is the negative feedback regulation of the secretion of glucagon as well as insulin. So the blue arrows that we see over here, so that is for the regulation by glucagon, okay, and the orange arrows are for insulin. So first, like what happens, glucagon and insulin, they are released by the pancreas, right? We have different cells that will release glucagon, so beta cells will release insulin. Now these two hormones play an important role in regulating the levels of glucose in our body. So if there is low blood glucose, that is known as hypoglycemia, so it will stimulate the alpha cells that will secrete the glucagon. Okay, so what the glucagon will do when it is released, it will convert glycogen into glucose. Okay, as well as it can form glucose using lactic acid and certain amino acids. So now glucose levels will increase. So glucose released by liver cells raises the blood glucose level back to normal. So initially the person was suffering with hypoglycemia. Due to the release of glucagon, glucose levels have increased and they have come back to optimum. Now again, if blood glucose continues to rise, so what will happen? There will be high blood glucose, that is hyperglycemia. So in that case, there will be negative feedback effect. So now in that case, it will inhibit the release of glucagon from the alpha cells. Right? So this is about the regulation for the secretion of glucagon. Now if there is high blood glucose in the body, so that time it will stimulate the beta cells to secrete the hormone, that is insulin, that is secreted by the beta cells. Right? So insulin again will act on the body cells. So what it does, it will accelerate the diffusion of glucose into cells. So what kind of diffusion it will accelerate? The facilitated diffusion of glucose into the cells. So now glucose will be taken inside the cells, right? So now the blood should have less levels of glucose. So there is speed conversion of glucose into glycogen. There will be high uptake of amino acids and increased protein synthesis, more synthesis of fatty acids, and all these, because of all these steps that are occurring, blood glucose level will decrease. Now if blood glucose continues to fall, hypoglycemia will inhibit the release of insulin. So when there is high glucose, it will stimulate the release of insulin. When there is less glucose, so that time again there will be negative feedback, where it will inhibit the release of inhibit the release of insulin from the beta cells of the pancreas. So we see that how glucagon and insulin play important role in regulating the levels of glucose in our body. So that's all for today. Thank you everyone.